UAP are airborne objects that, when encountered, cannot be immediately identified. With regard to the importance of transparency, the Department is fully committed to the principle of openness and accountability to the American people.
We're going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Oh my gosh, dude.
U.S. Navy personnel recorded what appears to be triangles, some flashing. The video was taken through night vision goggles with a single lens reflex camera.
Well, I would say, it's a pretty high-profile incident. I don't claim to be an expert. You're the guys investigating it. I mean, who else is doing it?
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to UFO We Want to Know. I hope you're enjoying your Saturday evening. Before I begin the show, as I always do, this is dedicated to those who have been ridiculed, made fun of, and laughed at by the media for the last 75 plus years. And that first opening line has to do with what we're going to start with, ladies and gentlemen. Over the years, I've shown people photos of UFOs going in and around Pahrump, Nevada. And I've often wondered why we have so many UFOs here. Well, maybe the Air Force can answer that question, because I've caught some interesting photos that I want you to see. So if we can show the first photo, I would like for you to see what I've put down as kind of like evidence. What you're seeing there is an FA-18 Super Hornet, and below it are missiles that it fires. Those missiles, or I should say some of them, are the AIM-120 Medium Range Air-to-Air Missile, or AMRAAM. Also, the AIM-9X Sidewinder Short Range Air-to-Air Missile. Next photo. Take a look at these two missiles that this aircraft. Now, this is not the only aircraft that fires these. Also, helicopters, attack helicopters utilize these. Next photo. What you're seeing is the same photo, except on the bottom ones, these are photos that I took. It's the same object. What I darkened on the left, the bottom, I've darkened it. The right, I've lightened it. But take a look at it. Look at the similarities you see in both of these photos as far as the top and the two on the bottom. There's a striking resemblance to it. Next photo. What I did was I did a X-ray type shot of it, negative if you will. Take a look at this. This is not a bird. It has mechanisms. This is a metal object flying through the air. Now, why am I showing you this instead of UFOs? Well, on the next photo, the house on the bottom left, if I came out my front door, I would see that house in front of me. To the right of that are mountain ranges. Now, that means I'm facing southwest. And that little white circle you see there, we're going to superimpose that right now. And this is what you're seeing inside of it. Next photo. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's the missile that I took. Now, my question to the Air Force and the government is, why are we firing missiles over a populated area? So, this is the interesting part about this particular scenario here. The elongated craft that I've been showing you, they come in from the same direction. They come from the south heading north. This one here was going in that same direction. Is that a coincidence? I'd like to hear from the government to find out, are they shooting missiles in our direction over a populated area? The nearest is Nellis Air Force Base, and that's in Las Vegas. Okay, so it takes me, it's going to take me at least an hour and a half, maybe even longer to get to Nellis from my house. What was this missile flying over Pahrump, Nevada for? Just a question for you. All kinds of things are happening in Pahrump that I see all the time. Do you believe in black holes? Do you believe in tears in the fabric of space? Do you believe that these UFOs can and do come at will in different realms. The next shot may answer that question. Next photo. Take a look at this, ladies and gentlemen. This is the sun, of course. The one to the right, that's just a lens flare. You can ignore that. But look to the left. This was a blue sky, and all of a sudden, this came out of this photo. Now, I took 5 photos. It was only in one. Next photo. A little bit closer to give you an idea. What does that look like to you? The next photo. Ladies and gentlemen, that looks like a flying saucer either coming in or going through a black hole or a tear in our fabric of space. If that is not proof positive that these objects, these incredible flying saucers, UFOs, they're here, they're everywhere, and they can come at will. Take a look at this. And that is why we are not in charge of our skies. We never have been, and we never will. So let this sink in for just a second, but take a look at that. I wanted the people to know that these UFOs are everywhere, and they can come and go at will. Moving on to the next image. We're going to show you a UFO that was quite low. Now you can see the sun, of course, in the center. You see a cloud just to the bottom left of it. And then below that, there is a white object down there. You can see the tree line. Going to the next photo, that's what was down there. And ladies and gentlemen, that is not a cloud. I didn't want to get closer and closer, zoom in on it, because it started to get distorted. But it seems to have some black areas of it protruding out. It was clearly not a bird, a plane. It wasn't anything like that. This was an object that had protrusions out of the right and left of it, and a couple of dark ones on the top of it. But this was really, really low to the ground. It wasn't up there in the sun like I showed you on previous pictures. Now on this next image I'm going to show you, I only have one because we were playing around with it for over a half hour. We tried some imaging software to see if we can get some clarity. I want you to take a look at this next photo. And ladies and gentlemen, please tell me what you think this is. This was in the sun, but it was below the sun to the right of it. We didn't want to keep showing you pictures of the sun and explaining it. That's self-explanatory. This was up there. Now, some people say, well, it could be a bird. Well, birds don't have wings near their rear end. Okay, it's one heck of a neck. But if you stare at this long enough, you can actually see that it has a detail to it. And of course, scientists say, well, if you keep staring at something, you can see anything you want to see. That's correct. And it's one of the only things that's probably correct in the scientists that I've talked to lately. But they just can't get them to open their minds. It's a terrible thing to waste. Next image. This one here, ladies and gentlemen, is a darker image. And I wanted to show this because I wanted you to get an understanding that this was taken at dusk. There are some clouds on the bottom to the right and then going on up. So let's show you what's actually in this picture. Next photo. This object was up there, ladies and gentlemen. This looks like some kind of metallic object of whatever it may have been. Next object, next photo. Okay, this is the same photo, but it was, of course, lighter. And you can see the object almost in the center of it. Next image. And this is, of course, the same object. I did 2 different photos because I thought it was important for you to get both sides of it. You can always play it back in your recorder to see what you think it is. But if you look at the right and left, there's protrusions coming out of it. The dark mass in the center never changes. I looked up and down on a magnifier, and it just didn't change. But if you look at the right side, it looks like some kind of mechanical arm of sorts coming out. And the bottom, it kind of looks like a fluke where maybe a power source, like a jet engine, is on the bottom of this. Now, there was no noise when I was out there when I was taking these photos. I took 3 of them, and it was only in 1 photo out of the 3. So what this is, I really can't tell you, but what I can tell you is that this is an object. It is up in the air. It's not a bird. It seems to be a mechanical device lingering in our airspace. Next photo. Going back to what I think is a significant photo, you'll see a object to the bottom of the sun to the right, and we're going to blow that up, but I want you to see the darkness around the sun because it was so bright. Next photo. And that's what was down there, ladies and gentlemen. This was an object, and again, as the previous one, you have some protrusions from the bottom left of that object. This is not a cloud. There was no clouds in the whole area. And it seemed just to linger there. And I kept trying to enhance it, but there was just no way to enhance this photo, and so I left it at that. Next image. You know, you see a lot of these in the sun photos, and I think it's so important for people to realize there are a lot of things in the sun that we just can't see. So the next image, I want you to see what was in this. Ladies and gentlemen, I counted 70 UFOs, 70 in this photo alone. Those are UFOs. Believe it. They're here, and they're here to stay. Ladies and gentlemen, when I come back, I'm going to be showing you more right after this message. We're back, and as I said before the break, we want to continue on with the photos. I hope you're finding this interesting, ladies and gentlemen, because I certainly do. Moving on to the next image. Ladies and gentlemen, this one here was up on the upper left of the sun. Very important to show you the sun. I think it's important because I want you to understand that we don't stare at the sun, but there are so many things up there that we just don't know. Moving on to the next image, this is what was above the sun. I was told that this looks kind of like a handgun, but if you look on the top of this, the white part of this object, it looks like there's some dark protrusions coming out of it. Now, some say that it could be a triangle craft also. You know, you take a look at it for yourself and you make up your own minds whether you think that this is a figment of the human being's imagination, as most scientists will tell you that there is no proof that we're being visited. If this is not one of ours, which I doubt, we are being visited. I thought that was interesting to show you. And I know a lot of people tell me you show a lot of things in the sun, but I'm sorry, I catch a lot of things in the sun. Next image. This is a cloud. This was facing north in my backyard. That is my ash tree to the left, and you got pine trees down the bottom. And I want to show you what I caught here. Next image. There was a streak going by, rather low. This was really low to the ground. I would say maybe 1,000 feet off the ground. And at first, I didn't really think too much of it, thinking it was a plane that was maybe far away. But I can hear most planes when they're traveling over me. Next image is a darker image of the same photo, the first one I showed you. And you can actually see down there the little slit down there. But what I did was I put it in a negative, which this is, and I did a blow up, and this is what I got. Next image. Ladies and gentlemen, that's not an airplane. Now, it could be several things here, and things were pointed out to me. It could be 5 UFOs following each other, or it could be 2 large crafts. As you can see, there's a split between them. Or it could be 1 large circular craft. Cigar shape, yeah, it could be any of those. I would like for people to make up their own minds when they see things that, well, you know, the human mind cannot process what we see. And we're always thinking about, well, there's all kinds of possibilities. our scientists say this, our scientists say that. Our science is not an exact science. And that's been proven over the years, as many people have made comments about history and what we can and what we can't do. The human being on this earth can do anything it sets his mind to. As the United States wanted to go to the moon, John F. Kennedy said it best, we chose to go to the moon because it's hard. And that's what we did. We took control of our destiny. This next image here is a place that I drive through almost all the time, at least 2-3 times a week, and it's Red Rock Canyon. Interesting enough, I have a lot of photos of Red Rock Canyon, a lot. And in it, I've caught in several UFOs, unidentified flying objects. Now, you can't see it because it's too far away. And what we did blow it up. But I want you to take a look at the background here, the scenery. It's really beautiful when you go out there. The next image, you're going to see what I'm talking about. This was up in the left corner of that photo. It was a photo that is reminiscent of what I usually catch out there. These are usually objects that seem to have an umbrella shape on top, and they have a dark protrusion on the bottom. I'm not exactly sure what it is. When you get a magnifier to this, you can actually see what looks like 2 dark eyeballs sticking out in the dark area. It's kind of eerie, but if the more I blow it up, superimpose it, whatever you want to call it, it kind of distorts what we're seeing. And through a powerful magnifier, it gives you an understanding that these objects have compartments to them. They don't seem to be solid base. Like when we see a jet, we know they've got wings, we know you've got elevators, you got a fuselage. They have compartments to them. Of course, ours are put together through rivets, bolts or whatever, and a lot of wiring. These craft here, they don't seem to follow our science. They don't seem to follow our aerodynamics. They don't seem to feel like they belong. And in a sense, if we were in their minds, would we say the same thing? That, they would say, well, the human beings don't belong because they're building these crazy contraptions that crash all the time. And yes, I go back to the ufology critics who say, well, if these people are so advanced, why do they crash all the time? It is what it is. Nothing is perfect. We always say that if it's man-made, it's not infallible, and it will crash, it will burn, it will fall apart, whatever it may be. The issue here is, why do our scientists continuously say that these images that we take every day are nothing? There's nothing to see here. Again, just last week, NASA announced they have not found any evidence of alien contact or any kind of alien ships visiting the Earth. I beg to differ. I've taken a lot of videos, a lot of photos of craft that they can't explain. Now, the ones they show at the congressional hearings, the ones they show at, or talk about at the whistleblowers conference, all of those tell you a lot. And I want you to remember something. Just a few days ago, they announced that Mr. Gresh wasn't the only whistleblower we have. 30 more, can I say that again? 30 more whistleblowers are coming forward. 30. And they corroborate what the first whistleblower, Mr. Gresh, said. So that, ladies and gentlemen, should be proof positive to everybody. And with these scientists, if they want to stay in business, in the UFO business anyway, because they got nothing better to do, I don't know. They better start paying attention, because people like me, we're catching these craft all the time. And with that, I'm going to show you our last item for the day. This is a video, and we're going to loop it 3 times. But I want you to see this video because our pilots can't do what this object does. As you can see, we have a red ring following this craft. just take a look at the red ring if you don't want to look at what's inside of it, because it is kind of blurry. It was far away. Now this, ladies and gentlemen, it's slowed down by, I believe it's 60%, I believe. Take a look at this. It made a U-turn. Now, we lost it there. You're going to see where we stop. And unfortunately, we couldn't follow it all the way to the frame. It backtracked, went back and forth like it was going in reverse behind the cloud. Can our jet planes do that? I don't think so. This object here then sped off to its left and left the frame. But this is so interesting, because any jet fighter, naval aviator, sees the turn this object made. Now, if I slowed it down to the speed we've got it down to, it had to be going Mach 10 to Mach 15 easily, because it made an abrupt turn. And when it did, it showed advanced technology in this. Look at forward and backwards. So I asked the scientists, never mind about the pilots who wish they could fly objects like this, UFOs. I like to ask the scientists, do we have the technology to do this in our jet aircraft at this time? I don't think so. This is an incredible turn here. It made a left angle turn. I'm going to ask my director if he can just loop this one more time after this, because I just want to grab my thoughts and just to understand how Congress or anybody else can say that there's no proof out there. We haven't found proof. There's nothing to see here. I'm just dumbfounded. And I think, like most people, we, the public, we get so angry at the fact that the government can just go on TV and say, what you saw there was just an anomaly. We're looking at it, but it's a nothing burger. You know, I'm tired of the nothing burgers. I need for them to tell us what they know is in our airspace. Because in the beginning of the show, what did I show you? I showed you a missile, ladies and gentlemen. So the government knows that there's something up there. They just don't know what it is. And for me, as a taxpayer, and for you as a taxpayer, we want to know where our dollars are going. They're certainly not going to tell us. It's important for people in Pahrump to understand that I believe that what I showed you in the beginning of this show was, if it wasn't an AIM-9 Sidewinder missile, I believe it was some type of missile going over Pahrump, Nevada. So is the Air Force going to answer the call and say, we're going to tell you exactly what that was? I highly doubt it. I'm going to continue on looking for UFOs in and around Pahrump, Nevada, and of course, all around the world in places that I go. I do plan to take some trips not too far in the distant future. And when I come back, I'm going to show you that it's not just here in Pahrump, Nevada. They're all over the world. I'd like to hear from you, a UFO we want to know. Let me know. Send me an email, and I'll be more than glad to return the email back to you. My name is Joseph, and I want to thank you for watching. Have a great weekend.